Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by Danny Hernandez. We still have nothing for creative for Chad, so he's gone, and James got lost in catering. Hopefully, he'll be back next week. Just a bit of news to talk about this week. We're going to start with something that happened a few days ago, but it was very big news. The quarterly WWE cuts have returned, this time NXT being the most and pretty much only affected brand of WWE. And there were quite a few cuts, but three stood out in particular, two of them being Dakota Kai and, unfortunately for Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis. And then Malcolm Bivens was also part of this, but it was reported by SRS that he just didn't re-sign a contract. So, Danny, we are once again here losing name brand WWE talents. I am upset about Dakota and Dexter myself, and I have heard from Chad that Malcolm had been doing very well as a mouthpiece. So what do you think of these cuts, and just why does WWE always have to just go with the bottom line instead of actual good wrestling talent?
So this isn't, it's not even as much of a quarterly cut as it is the yearly post WrestleMania cut, you know?
Whenever the earnings report is usually when they come around.
Yeah. Now that's the thing. Now that they do have these quarterly cuts, but this was the April cuts were always a thing. I think they took a break once in the past 3 years in April, but I'm upset about Dakota Kai. I think she is great. Both her and Knox are both gone now, but she also reportedly told the company she wasn't going to resign when her contract was up. So I guess this was them just saying, "Oh, well, you're going to leave anyway. We might as well cut you." But it's just weird. She was so, from what I've seen, we watch NXT a lot less than the other two people who are usually on this podcast. James is off in the woods fighting a bear, so he can't be here this week. And Chad is on vacation on a private island that we will not name. But they'll both hopefully be back. We'll see. I don't know if James is going to survive the bear fight, but
hey, DiCaprio did. I think he'll be fine.
I like how you're comparing James to DiCaprio. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. How old is James's girlfriend? But I'm upset. Like I said, they would know more about NXT. From what I know about NXT, it's really sexy now. That's all. That's the main focus, is that it's sexy. So, that being said, I don't know what a lot of these people they released, and I'm sorry because I'm not up to date on NXT, so I'm not gonna comment too much about them. I won't even joke really about it because I don't know them, so I can't even make good jokes because I don't know what they look like or what they act like. So I'll hold off. Like, I barely even know Dexter Lumis. I know him more from his name popping up and like Dexter Lumis is in this weird angle, or like weird stories. But I really hope Dakota Kai goes on to do good things. I keep saying it, like, when this happens, this would be a great pickup for AEW, who needs to bolster their women's division. But realistically, she should probably go to Impact. Or she's someone I could see just going to Japan, maybe going to Stardom or something. I feel
Be
like
closer to home.
Yeah, she'll probably bounce all over the place. But she was someone that was talented. Like, she was like a little, like, a Bailey, and the second version of Bailey in NXT. Like, they had someone that, and then the same as Bailey, they turned this natural, plucky, like, underdog little girl baby face into a pretty good heel. Like, every time I see Dakota Kai, I'm a fan. So
she had a good run with Raquel Gonzalez, which I really enjoyed that run. So
yeah, and they just didn't. It's so weird because they could have easily just brought her up with Raquel, and then you have a women's tag team right there. Do you want to know who the tag teams are in the WWE Women's Division right now? It's the champions, Sasha Banks and Naomi, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler. who aren't really a team. They're just two people with nothing to do.
And a queen in their nickname.
Yeah, it's like, bro, Natalia is a tag team slot. Like, she just jumps from partner to partner. It's all people who are doing nothing, and they team with Natalia. Also, she's a Dolph Ziggler right now in NXT. She's in NXT. She's an NXT superstar right now. I think. I'm pretty sure she's beating people. But Raquel and Dakota could have been an easy team on the main roster to feud with Banks and Naomi, and a good team, and a credible team, and it'll be an over feud instantly, as opposed to it feels terrible to say this about Shayna Baszler, but it's a nothing feud. But to have Natalya and Shayna Baszler face Sasha and Naomi, no one will care. And again, that hurts to say about Shayna, but like, there was stuff for Dakota to do. Is the point that I'm making here? Is that they had something for her, and they were just like, oh, you're not going to reset. Like, instead of thinking, oh, well, let's call you up, see how you feel in a year or so when your contract is up, and then see if you want to resign. I don't know, but who knows? Hey, maybe she just wanted to go home, and that's why she wasn't going to resign. So, well, I'm sure we'll hear her story eventually.
Her not resigning actually brings up a good point, because were she to stick around here or go really anywhere, to be honest, but especially in America and especially AEW, instead of her just being released and being able to go whenever she goes, now she's got to, do the 90-day. So I don't know when you were saying her contract is up. I mean,
I'm not sure, honestly. It might be later this year. It could be early next year.
Yeah, so whenever it is, I mean, I guess now she can get out and do whatever she wants to a bit earlier. I do just really want to quickly read off the other names who were released, just so we don't sound like we're completely ignoring them. It was Paige Prinzavali. I'm going to probably pronounce the Spanish, but it's probably wrong. Sahana George, Draco Anthony, Harland, Persia Perota, Raylan Devine, and Mila Milani. So I probably butchered a few of those, and I apologize, but it wasn't the deep roster cuts that we have had in the past. As for Dakota, I got to agree with you. I think she'd be great in AEW. Again, just help bolster that women's division, but it is crowded enough just because of the limited time. It feels a lot more crowded than it already is. So maybe you're right. Maybe Impact would be the best spot for her, or depending on what happens with this whole Ring of Honor thing, we'll see. Maybe Tony Khan decides to build a division down there, and she can, be a very top, easy, credible star there straight off the bat. Dexter leaving hurts just because the Indy Hartwell storyline was one of the funniest things going towards the end of Black and Gold brand, with the Wwe and Johnny Gargano and everything. It was really funny. I'm sure Indy will find something to do, because I already know she's found something to do. They've already got her in another love angle. And to quote somebody on Twitter, the body's not even cold yet. But I think Dexter will find work too. He's got a really cool, unique look, and he's good in the ring. I don't know about his promo work, but he can say a lot without saying anything. So I'm sure he'll find something somewhere. And depending on what Malcolm wants to do, I know we're kind of ignoring him just because he's mostly a mouthpiece. He's a great talker. If somebody needs a manager somewhere, he will 100% end up somewhere. So the weird thing about all of this, though, is that right around the time all of these cuts were coming down, Roderick Strong asked for his release, and it was not granted. So this is weird, at least to me, for a couple of reasons. One, you compare him to somebody like, even somebody like Dakota, where with the whole rebrand of NXT and, Black and Gold dying, and now we have, NXT, I'm colorblind and I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. Like, you can see why Roddy would kind of get lost in the shuffle. And just because, it's a lot more developmental again than it used to be. So I can see why that would happen. You would think he would be a candidate to be released. But at the same time, they did just have the whole Diamond Mine thing going for him. He was looking really good. It was very entertaining. That's easily something could have brought to the main roster. And now he's just sitting in catering, as far as I know.
See, this is WWE still. They still have that little bit of pettiness, and they don't
Little?
view AEW as a threat, but yeah, they're not gonna let Tony Khan complete the set. They're not gonna let him get all 4 members of Undisputed Era. This is the only one they have control over, so they're gonna keep him. And hey, maybe they do like an Ali situation where after a while they bring him up with something to do and they try to, make amends, and maybe they'll have something for him, and maybe but at the end of the day, it's like you fired my wife, all my friends are gone. I just let him go, because the truth is he's not a difference maker. Like, I get it because it's like, oh, the Undisputed Era will be complete and that's like a big deal, but it's not like oh my God, Roderick Strong is here. It's like, we'll like it. Nick Maniotis will love it. Eric might have opinions, but
he always has opinions, whether or not they're positive. It's a different story.
Is it? Because I feel like they're never positive. But it'll be a cool thing, but it's not a difference maker. It'll just be a great moment, and it's just like what do you really see that much value in him? Like, I actually understand the Ali one more than anything, because I think Ali can be like a top guy and an actual somewhat of a difference maker. Like, I think he could be the next like Moxley, or someone to like leave and then go on a podcast and just fucking unleash. Like they don't want him to release Ali because of the stories he could tell. Whereas Roderick is just like, fuck you, you can't go be with your friends. You were dumb enough to resign, so that's on you. Like I feel bad for him, but like, I think in a couple months they're just gonna have something new for him and he'll be back on TV. So it's like, I'm not worried about him in WWE. It's just because I've accepted that any person you like in NXT has a very low ceiling, and you gotta just learn to live with that.
Yeah, it sucks. Like I said, Roddy had something really good going with Diamond Mine there for a while. If I'm not mistaken, I think Malcolm Bivens was the mouthpiece for that. I would have to double check with Chad, but he's not here. So somebody write in the comments whether or not I'm wrong. Go ahead. But it sucks. You're right. He could go to AEW. Tony Khan could complete the set. I don't know. I mean, it'll be fine. I think. Like, I'm not overly hyped about that if it does happen. But I think what's best for Roddy right now, at least, again, I'm just speaking strictly at a wrestling standpoint, is him getting out of there. It's just until they find something for him to do, which I just don't see where that would be. Because I don't think it's going to be on, NXT 2.0, and they just seemingly refuse to bring him up to the main roster. I just think wrestling-wise, it should be best for him to get out, go somewhere else. He can go hang out in PWG for a bit if he wants. I'm sure Ring of Honor would love to have him back. He was always great there. He can go, do an England tour and have them yell about his shitty little boots again. Like, there's so much more for him to do outside of WWE that I selfishly want him out, because I want to see him do something other than sit in the back. All right, so let's move on to a different promotion and a new one. Yes, another new promotion. Freddie Prinz Jr. has announced on his podcast that he is starting up a new wrestling promotion and gave us some details. This is courtesy of @WrestlingPurist, who wrote it all down for us. So Freddie plans, to start in about 18 months, and he has a 2-hour show planned. Says he has the money for 3 years worth of shows. He will base his storylines in reality, with men and women getting equal time. He wants to own the space it's filmed in. He wants it to be a Screen Actors Guild show, which I think is a big deal. And a little more crucially, but it is early in this process, he does not have a TV contract yet. So Freddie, for those of you who don't know, very big wrestling fan. He was actually a WWE writer for quite a few years. He also tweeted out that he recently completed the Rey Mysterio storyline from WWE 2K, so that we think he's got this. But Danny, this is a bit of, I think it's a bit of interesting news. What are your opinions on hearing it?
Look, I'm a man of substance. Dorky chicks like you turn me on too. Sorry, I really love the Scooby-Doo movie, and I wanted to quote it, but I'm into this, man. Like, Freddie is such a big wrestling fan, and he's so open about it. He's always telling cool stories about his time as a writer. When he was a writer, that was like one of the first times I was really like looking at dirt sheets, and I was like, Freddie Prinz Jr. I was like, Fred from Scooby Doo is the fucking writer for WWE. I'm like, that's so cool. But so he's always telling good stories. He's a fan, and yeah, you know, some of his pitches were a little out there and not the best, but he was like, hey, this is what wrestling is. These are the kind of pitches I'm gonna write. And you know, fuck it, man. He can have his promotion, and he can feud with what's his name, Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, you know, over at Celebrity Wrestling Owners. It's fucking great.
Bring David Arquette in.
Fuck yeah. I mean, was it Doogie Howsen, right? Is that the show? What was the show he was on?
Oh, Arquette. I thought it was like Doogie Howser was Neil Patrick Harris.
What was the Freddie Prinz Jr. show?
Oh, I have no idea. I only know him from Scooby Doo, and he voiced some really good characters.
They rebooted it, is the point. Whatever the show is, Punky Brewster, I think, is Punky. I don't know. They rebooted it, and you know, he can use all the money from that to open this promotion. It's fucking fantastic. You know, I have no problem with this whatsoever. It's another company. It's more places for people to work. He said that men and women will get equal time, and you know, all he has to do is make good on that to like 80%, you know, and he has a step up on he has something to brag about over AEW, or like, you know, fuck it. I'm all for this, you know, let's see if it actually happens. It might not be anything, but I mean, why not, right? I'd rather have a promotion started by someone who loves wrestling than by someone who just sees it as a business opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, as we mentioned, you know, when he was WWE writer back in the day, he wrote some great storylines. I think he was involved in a lot of the Jeff Hardy stuff, and he's told some really good stories about being there in the last few months that I've enjoyed reading. It was an interesting view into what it's like to be a writer for WWE, especially somebody at that high a level, because, you know, he was famous going in there as opposed to a lot of the people Vince would hire. So a lot of people were giving him shit in the beginning. And it was also an interesting view into like Vince's relationship with those writers. So I've enjoyed hearing those stories. Hopefully this works. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, try to be like, oh, I don't want this to work. Like, fuck this. We have enough wrestling companies. No, hopefully it works. You know, more work is always good for wrestlers. I'm interested to see what, you know, happens with all those storylines. But I do think probably the biggest news out of this, at least for me, is the idea that he wants all of his wrestlers to be SAG members. I think that's a big deal, because I think there is so much of the wrestling business with the independent contracting, everything, and a lot of times just the lack of insurance and job security and stuff like that. It's hard, and they don't have a union. So them being in a union, especially one as strong as SAG, would be a very big deal and could possibly revolutionize the wrestling industry as a whole. You know, I almost kind of wish James here, no offense, because he's, you know, in the industry and stuff, and he would be able to probably talk on this a lot better than I could. But terrible week for having neither Chad nor James. But I do think that is a huge, huge deal if this company does indeed get off the ground.
That's a great point. I think that's fantastic. That's a great way to get them into some sort of union. And you know what? It's a good way to help them with acting, because, you know, a lot of wrestlers are good at the wrestling part of it, but they're not all great at acting or talking. And, you know, that's the side of it that's almost like harder to work on. You know, like the moves are more physical. But to get character work down, if you don't have it, you need someone like Freddie who can show you how to act. And by the way, it was Punky Brewster that he was in, and they rebooted. I did make sure of that, but
I was literally just checking that just to make sure.
But yeah,
he was also Kane in Star Wars Rebels, which I know him for a lot better than Punky Brewster.
I mean, most people originally knew him from What She's All That or whatever. Or
yeah, he was in that.
But I think he'll bring a lot to the table. And you mentioned James, and James did star in an episode of Made, and he's pretty famous for that. But even our good, positive, upbeat friend Eric, he's in the business. And this Eric, bro, listen to me right now. This is your chance, man. You can make it into a wrestling promotion, man. You could be working with Freddie, man. You and Freddie. Writing wrestling, directing shit, man. Then you get him to star in your next short film. It all makes sense, bro. Go for it. You can.
Now I'm trying to think of what it would be like if Eric was booking a wrestling company. I feel like it would only be like veteran dudes who are already over, and they would only those dudes would win the title, and they would be on TV, and it would be done in 2 years because he has new stars.
He would also have one title. Probably he would call them divas, But no, okay. So it would be. I'm into this, and who knows? Maybe we're blowing this out of proportion, and none of this ever comes to fruition. But the way he's talking about it sounds like he has a lot. Like he's thought about this for a while, and he has a lot of the pieces in place. He just needs to get a TV deal and I get also, get wrestlers. I think that'll be the hardest part because there's so many options, but who knows? Maybe Forbidden Door next year is, it's between AEW and Spooky Island, bro. And it could just be, it could be great. I hope to make Scooby-Doo references, not stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is you gotta get the wrestlers, right? But
yeah,
and also, you gotta get them and the TV deal. We
should have said that the reason James and Chad aren't here is because we decided to split up and search for clues. But
So hopefully they haven't been captured by Old Man Jenkins. But the TV deal I think is an interesting one because I think AEW has proved that you can be another company outside of WWE and do good numbers and bring in revenue for a TV channel. So assuming he gets a big enough star to market in the beginning, the way, say, AEW got Jericho, and then very closely thereafter Moxley. Because, the indie guys, we all knew Kenny, the indie guys, but you know what I mean? The hardcore fans, we all knew Kenny in the Bucks and everyone coming for Bullet Club, and then some of us knew Penta and Phoenix, depending on what your wrestling preferences was. But Jericho was the whale. He was the big get. And then Moxley coming in, after the pay-per-view was even, bigger. But you need those mainstream guys to market. And I just don't know who would be available to help do that in the beginning. A lot can change by the time he starts. I mean, he said 18 months. So we'll see. But I think that's his two biggest. I think that is his biggest obstacle to then hurdle the TV deal.
Oh, man, if I make a pup named Scooby-Doo reference, will any of you guys get it? But
I might.
He can get Red Heron to be the biggest heel in the company. Bro, real quick, okay, I've talked about this with my friends once in a while, but for a kid's version of a kid's show that a pup named Scooby-Doo was, that's the smartest fucking character name I've ever heard, bro. Red Heron. Fred thinks it's Red Heron every week because he's a red heron. It's so on the nose. I love it. I'm here for it. This is really what this podcast is all about,
I do remember that, and that was funny as hell. It used to be on. I'm trying to remember if I watched it on actual Cartoon Network or on Boomerang.
you wouldn't know what that meant as a kid, if it wasn't for that show. Like, you don't. That's a fucking fallacy. Like, kids don't know fallacies. Do because of pup named Scooby Doo. Amazing.
Bravo, writers. Bravo.
Are we talking about Stu Grayson? He could be a guy. He could be the guy.
Oh yeah, so yeah, let's talk about that. We forgot to put it in our doc, but yeah, let's go. Stu Grayson has been quietly taken off AEW's roster page. There's been a lot of odd rumblings and rumors about him. No one really has a fix on what's going on. I think James had a few rumors about it, that he was just kind of been really weird lately, for lack of anything. But it is kind of interesting to see what's going to go on with the Dark Order and him now. They haven't really been seen on TV too much. We saw Silver this past week. He's going to be facing John Moxley on Long Island next Wednesday, since he is a Long Island. Oh, excuse me, CM Punk on Long Island next Wednesday. Thank you, because Silver is the Long Island kid. But we haven't seen Stu in BTE in a while. I don't think that the Dark Order has been on BTE for the last week or two, now that I think about it. So we do have a little turmoil in the Dark Order emanating from off-screen stuff. Danny, what do you... There's not a lot here, but what do you think about it?
I think that Stu just wants to wrestle more, and he's not getting the time or opportunities he thought he would get in AEW. So that being said, I think if he is gone, that literally just means he's going to start wrestling in like Japan and other places, because, you know, I like Stu Grayson a lot, but he wouldn't succeed in WWE. So if you're leaving AEW because you're not getting enough time to wrestle, I think the only place you can really go is New Japan. And again, like that's just speculation. That's why he would possibly leave, because otherwise I have no idea why he would leave. Because, you know, once in a while he sounds, and again, this is like BTE, so it's not like it's real life, but, you know, you complain that he's a great wrestler and he hasn't been wrestling, or maybe that wasn't a backstage segment on AEW, but I don't know, maybe he's just looking for more time to wrestle, and that I kind of understand, because even if you're on Dark, like every once in a while when I do watch Dark matches, they're barely matches. They're just like one-sided 4-minute matches.
Yeah, like against local talent.
Yeah, the rostered named member always wins, you know, and it's quick. So he probably just wants to go flex his wrestling ability somewhere else. So.
Yeah, I think that's also part of the rumor that I heard, that he just wasn't wrestling, wasn't really on TV, and he just got fed up with it. And it's a shame, you know. I really enjoy him in Dark Order. Him and Uno have been together for a really long time. You know, they were Super Smash Bros. Together before they came to AEW. And AEW, they had both said, but especially Uno, you know, they had said, like, being able to wrestle, as our job full time, like, really helped change our lives. You can even just look at Uno's physical transformation, the fact that he was able to dedicate himself to wrestling, and he lost a lot of weight from go watch like the beginning of AEW to now. He lost a whole lot of weight. So the fact that he is now so upset, seemingly upset, Grayson is, with something that he presumably like helped change his life is disappointing, to say the least. I hope this isn't straining his relationship with Evil Uno too much, or any of the guys in Dark Order, or anybody else for that matter. And I hope he's, doing okay. I can understand why somebody would, kind of, fall into a depression or, something like that, because you're, kind of being denied doing the thing that, you want to do. So I hope he's okay. I hope he's able to, figure this out, either find work either in AEW or elsewhere. But it's an odd situation, and I don't want to speculate too much on it, just because we haven't really gotten a whole lot of concrete news out of it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like we don't, like you said, we don't know everything yet. It's pretty up in the air, but I don't know. It'll be weird to see him not with the Dark Order, but either way, hopefully he's happy.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to one last thing here. This Sunday will be WWE Wrestlemania Backlash. Cool. So we're going to do our predictions as we usually do. I will be coming in blind as hell to this. I haven't watched a second of WWE television since WrestleMania outside of Finn and AJ Styles to Sweeting the other day, which was awesome. So, Danny, I'm really counting on you to carry me, at least do the Raw stuff. I guess the SmackDown stuff, we're just going to wing it. But let's check out what is a very short card at the moment. We'll see if anything changes this Friday on SmackDown, but only 6 listed matches. Let's jump right in. We start with Bobby Lashley versus Almost with MVP. All I know is about this is that MVP turned his back on Lashley in favor of AJ Styles' former bodyguard. I'm pretty sure they fought at Mania. So, and I'm pretty sure Bobby won. So who do you got, Danny?
Okay, so what's the guy's name that got released? The mouthpiece, was it Bivens? Or?
Yes.
He was considered to be Omos's mouthpiece originally, but then they just went with MVP. So,
and again, for the record, he just didn't re-sign a contract, so it expired. He didn't actually get released.
So, well, didn't they release him because I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I think Omos will actually no. I think Lashley just wins again at this point. Like it would make sense for Omos to win because now the MVP is there to cause a distraction, and there's a very good chance that'll happen. But they just turned Bobby face, and they love Bobby, even though he sucks without a manager. And that's just the truth. Sorry, James. You know, I know he's a big meaty man and everything, but this big meaty man match sucked at Mania, and it's gonna suck this time too. So, you know what? Change my mind. Omos is gonna win. It doesn't matter. I'm going with Omos. Fuck this match.
Yeah, Bobby is doing well as a face, which is good. I think he was actually pretty over as a heel, to be honest with you, because he's one of the few people they present constantly as a credible threat. He's cool. He is one of the few like digital entrances that actually looks cool with all the smoke and the lightning and shit.
Oh, they've ruined his entrance this week. It's bad again. He comes up on like a pedestal and they pan up from his legs into his crotch and then into his fucking torso, and it's really bad. It's really bad.
What did he steal the Cody Vate? Like what? Oh my god, they can never leave well enough alone. They actually have something cool. I mean, he might as well just hit them with his favorite pose if they're gonna, go from bottom to top like that.
Someone put it well. It's Bobby Lashley was never cool or good, besides in the ring. MVP was. MVP makes the act. So like without him, no one's gonna care about Bobby Lashley in a couple months. He'll be right back to talking about his sisters.
Yeah, but I think it's the combination of both too, because like
weird, because Bobby has the look and the presence, but he is not the complete package. I'm sorry, I feel like you were gonna say.
No, because you're right. Like, he has the look and the presence, and then you book him as one of, if not the most credible threat in the company that isn't named Roman Reigns. I mean, he had a very, Bobby had a very lengthy title reign, and you give him somebody like MVP who looks cool next to him and has the gravitas on the microphone. It was a very good package. And now that they've split it, and I understand, almost needing somebody to also be a mouthpiece makes a lot of sense, but it's just a shame they had to separate, Bobby and MVP. And now the Hurt business is 100% officially dead. So that's a shame. Anyway, I'm going to go with Almost here as well, just because he's young and they're still building him, getting his win back just makes sense to me in WWE speak. I agree with you, though. I think Bobby should win because he's the face now, and the don't have anybody for Roman. I don't even I assume he faced Roman for the title.
No.
Oh, okay, well then that makes a pretty, viable contender, but I just think they're going to be dumb about it. He's probably going to lose and then face Roman anyway. I know Roman's feuding with Drew, and like we'll get there, but he'd probably lose and face Roman anyway, and then lose to Roman because WWE logic. All right, next up we have something I didn't know happened. Happy Corbin versus Madcap Moss. I guess they split up.
Yes, because Corbin lost at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did.
Madcap Moss won the Battle Royal, which wasn't at WrestleMania, but
It was the WrestleMania SmackDown.
Yeah, but so they're feuding. Who cares, right? It doesn't matter. Madcap Moss is gonna win, but I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, no, you're right. It should be Madcap. Like another thing where they should put the younger person over. Happy Corbin doesn't need a win, but we're also thinking about things in terms of like, oh, if he gets this win, like it makes it better for him. It's so hard for me to get out of the AEW mindset of wins and losses matter because they don't in WWE. Like I just said, I think Bobby's going to lose and go for the title. And a lot of times what ends up happening is you have a dude with like the US title who loses the title and then it goes to the WWE or Universal Championship. So it's kind of hard for me to get out of the wins and losses matter mentality, but I think Madcap winning here just makes more sense because I assume he's the face. So
yes, yeah.
All right, next we have AJ Styles versus Edge in another WrestleMania rematch. Damian Priest, however, banned from ringside this time. I mean, we have the whole what is the new brood going?
House of Purple.
They're
called Judgment Day.
I was gonna say it's Judgment Day, right? Because I guess WWE still has the copyright on that from back in the days of the pay-per-view. Has Rhea Ripley joined Judgment Day yet?
No.
Do you think she does on Sunday?
On Sunday, no. I think Ciampa might join on Sunday.
Not him, not there. Terrible idea.
No, that's the only way that Ciampa will do anything of note on the main roster. This is not NXT Ciampa. You guys, you gotta let it go.
Oh yeah, he's dead. He's not even Tommaso Ciampa anymore.
It's just Ciampa, but I don't see because I think it's gonna go obviously it's gonna go one of two ways, but I think those two ways specifically are AJ wins to get his win back, and because Damian Priest is banned from ringside, or Edge wins because Ciampa joins the group, or Rhea Ripley. I just think it's more likely to be Ciampa because Rhea, I feel like she'll finish her feud with Liv first before she ends up joining. But so this one is actually pretty tough to call, but I guess I'm gonna go with AJ. Just so that because you can't just have the heels win all the time. Also, let me just say, I like Edge's faction as a concept. I like the way they look. I like the way him and Priest look together when they walk out and make their entrance. It looks badass. Edge's character makes no sense though, because he's presenting himself as this like omnipotent like being, and he's cutting these spooky promos. And Damian Priest teleported out of the ring mid-match, and the match just ended, a couple weeks ago. So they're like magic. But then when Edge speaks, he's like, "We're in so-and-so town. This team sucks. What? This place is garbage. You guys smell." Like,
what?
Bro, you're cutting generic heel heat promos, but you're a spooky character. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's the only, it jars with me, and like I feel like I'm being a baby about it. And Edge even, shits on fans like that in these promos. So I feel like bro, he's definitely hearing me complain. Like, I get it, Edge. You like my raw fast forwards. You're upset that I don't give you any props on it, but like, God, stop getting cheap heat, bro. Like you're literally better than that. Or just be a normal heel if you're gonna do promos like that. I don't know.
It sounds like Oh, I'm sorry. It sounds like it comes back to something we brought up a couple of weeks ago where Edge liked the Brood and was more nostalgic for the Brood more than any of us ever were. And he has just leaned hard into all of that stuff, even though I guess he still has to kind of do some of the generic heel shit.
Yeah, I was saying if he just fully leaned into it, I'd accept it more. It's just, I don't know. But like once there's more people, like I'm sure the more this goes on, the more I'll enjoy it. And the more he adds people, the more, once there's a whole package. And now that we got the Finn AJ aspect of it, it's pretty great. So, but yeah, it's like a coin flip here for me on this. I want to say Edge, but I think I'm going to go with AJ because otherwise, or I don't know. Fuck it, I'll say AJ. I'm so unsure.
I'm going to go Edge because I just think that he'll cheat to win somehow. Whether it's Ciampa coming out or he just, I don't know, there's a dick kick or something. I just feel like he's going to cheat to win this match, no matter what it is. So, and because, you know, AJ Styles is a guy who can take that loss too. Like, it's not a huge deal, but I don't know. I just don't, especially with now he's got a whole new faction building, Edge does. It just feels too early. And then they'll probably end up having a tag match against AJ and Finn at the next pay-per-view or something. Actually, they'll probably do it 3 times on Raw, and then they'll have it at the pay-per-view. But I think I got Edge here. But not clean, not even close.
No, definitely not.
All right, next match, we have what was going to be title matches and turned out not to be. Drew McIntyre and RK Bro against the Bloodline, which is obviously Roman and the Usos. There were titles on the line here. I think originally, RK Bro and the Usos were actually going to unify. And then all of a sudden you throw Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns into the mix, and those odds drastically go down. So I don't know why all that happens, but now we have this wonky little 6-man tag, and it actually might be an opportunity for Roman Reigns to lose a match without being pinned.
Yeah, I think undoubtedly the baby faces will win this match. That doesn't make it okay that this is happening on the pay-per-view. And I am sure this match will be fantastic. It'll be fun. But you know what? We had 2 very fun 6-person tags on Raw. And this match is also a TV match that does not belong on pay-per-view. It's so dumb, especially when you were advertising title unifications for weeks. What was the point of all this? Like, that's the kind of shit that's like unforgivable. Like, you don't want to do Drew versus Roman yet. You want to save it for a bigger show. First of all, stop treating your shows like that. Where you're like, oh, fuck the show, it doesn't deserve a big match. You know, fine. You could have had, Nakamura face Roman because that's what you teased the SmackDown after WrestleMania. Like, yeah, Nakamura is not a credible threat, and that's depressing to say, but like, that's what you teased. Just fucking do it. You can have Cesaro wasn't a credible threat either a year ago, but that match was fun as hell. That was the best match of Roman's whole title reign. Like, so just do that. Just have the title unification match. And I was against the title unification match because
I still am.
Like, fuck it. I don't want the Bloodline on Raw all the time. I'm not enjoying that. It's not good anymore. I would have taken it like a year ago. It would have been dope. Now it's back to being nothing. And this is proof of that because when's the last time added Roman Reigns to a card made it worse? I don't even like Roman Reigns, but like adding him to this card has made it so much worse because they added him in the worst possible way. Like we're going from a title unification match to a match that could be on any episode of SmackDown. It's ridiculous. Also, even if you're going to have the title unification match, the best part of that was the idea that RK Bro can win and that the Bloodline storyline could fucking progress in some meaningful way for the first time in what feels like 8 months. Like the Usos losing the titles because there's no reason they should take the titles off RK Bro. They're the hottest act in the company by far.
Well, them and Ezekiel. But yeah.
I mean, well, Ezekiel's the best thing in the company by far, but he doesn't have any merch to move yet. So once he gets merch, it's a whole nother story. But it's ridiculous. I don't know. Like I said, there were two better, more fun 6-person tags on Raw. So like, why the fuck should I care about this match? But 100% the babyfaces win because you got to build up Drew if he is going to face Roman.
Yeah, that, and you have two guys on one side who have automatic finishers, and you only have one guy on the other side who has. I'm not even sure Roman has an automatic finisher. I'm not entirely sure if the spear is 100% on somebody like Drew. So, yeah, I'm gonna take Drew and RK Bro as well. Like you said, you got to build Drew for Roman for when they go to where they going to Glasgow or whenever they go to the UK. I think it's Glasgow. I don't think you should have RK Bro lose right now. They're so red hot, like you said. They're one of the best things running in the company. Having them lose to these fucking just absolute at the moment bores, of a team and a champion. Just don't do it. It's bad for business. All right. Let's move along to another WrestleMania rematch. Because if you haven't noticed by now, this is WrestleMania Backlash. So there's Backlash from WrestleMania, hence all the rematches. Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins. So a repeat of what was one of the better matches of that WrestleMania weekend. And I'm curious to see if they can amp it up even more.
I think they can, because I think they're going to get a lot of time because of the relatively short card. This is, it's been good. It actually feels weird. It got cooled off a little bit the past couple of weeks because, they got sucked into the RK Bro match 2 weeks ago, and Ezekiel was there too. So it's like, bro, Cody, you're like the fourth biggest star on your team. It's insane. But, this past week they it didn't jump the gun or anything, but it got real personal when it just didn't feel personal. Like Seth started taking obligatory shots at Dusty, and it's good stuff, but save that for a feud more hatred. This feud didn't really have any hatred before this, and it didn't need it. So, but this match is going to be great. It's still a hot feud. Cody's really over. Seth is really over too. The crowd sings his theme song, which is cool, which has no words. So, it's always nice when that happens. But Cody's going to win. He's going to go 2-0 Rollins, and then you got to move on. You got to get Rollins into a winning feud because, he's doing a lot. It's a little funny that the guy who buries AEW in interviews is putting over the AEW star, I know they don't see him as an AEW star, but he's basically he's AEW is his character, So that's nice. That's sweet. And it's a good, if he is going to be the one to take at least one of the titles off Reigns, that's a good way to do it. It's like, I beat your boy Seth Rollins, the guy you couldn't beat at the Royal Rumble this past year, because I don't think that's ever going to get brought up again unless Cody brings it up, because I feel like Seth is not going to face Roman again. So, yeah, fuck it. Give Cody the win. It'll be a great match. What do you think? Who do you got?
Well, I will say I think this is one of the matches on the card I am looking most forward to. Like I said, I think they can escalate what they did at Mania. I guess I'll take Cody too. I don't know why they would have him lose in his second high-profile match back. Especially
his match versus The Miz wasn't high profile.
Well, I mean, in terms of being on pay-per-view, but I know that would be a little disrespectful for The Miz. I like The Miz.
It's not a high profile match.
Well, in The Miz's mind, it is. But yeah, I don't understand why they would have him lose in his second pay-per-view match back. That's just dumb. Now, that being said, I do think this company books their things dumb. So Rollins has a chance, but I'm going to take Cody here. It's the logical move. And if he is, like you said, going to be one of the guys to possibly take one of these titles off of Roman, which I'm convinced is going to be in a triple threat where Roman doesn't get pinned, Cody winning here makes sense. And, he gets like you said, he gets a win over a guy who Roman couldn't beat, and a guy who was a past champion and somebody atop the WWE card. All right, so last match here on the card. Again, only 6 matches, which is weird. But Charlotte Flair, who is the champion, against Ronda Rousey in an I Quit match for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm kind of here for this match, not even though it's Ronda versus Charlotte, but I'm curious to see how Ronda performs in an I Quit match, and I think that's intriguing enough to get me to watch it.
I get that. I really don't care. I think it'll. I don't know, because it should be good because they're both pretty good, you know. But that didn't seem to matter at WrestleMania. I am still convinced that a one-on-one Becky versus Ronda match would be better than the triple threat they had and the Charlotte Ronda match. But
Agreed.
this should be interesting. I don't know. I kind of think Charlotte does like a screw job. Like she puts her in the figure 8 and then some, like they play like audio of Ronda saying I quit or something from
like they did with Mankind and The Rock.
Yeah. Like I think they do something like that and it'll be bad and no one will be happy and it'll, like, I don't know. Ronda, I think, does win the title at the end of the feud, but I don't know if this is the end of the feud. It's just so boring that it's hard to really pinpoint how much longer there is because it feels like forever, but I really don't know. Because I don't know if they have Charlotte say I quit. Like, yeah, they've had Charlotte tap before, but
even though she said repeatedly in the build-up to WrestleMania that she hadn't. Yeah. She had at least 10 times, mostly to Sasha and Becky.
That's not, and that's the thing, it wasn't even like an in character. Well, I mean, she was in character, but other people were saying it too. It wasn't just her. So the company is literally just pretending. Like they're literally pretending it didn't happen. It's not just her being a delusional heel, which is insane. But it's like, yeah, she lost the title to someone who only has submission finishers multiple times. How did she lose those matches? But I don't know. I want to save Ronda to play it safe, but I really do think it's going to be a stupid screw job. So
Get a little Nation involved again.
Do we know what the next pay-per-view? I'm going to say Charlotte. It's going to be fucking bullshit. It's going to be a screw job.
Over under 2.5 receipts Charlotte delivers to Ronda in this match.
Receipts?
Yeah, like I think like Ronda's like gonna hit her like a little too hard or something by accident because I don't know how many of these quote unquote hardcore matches Ronda's been in off the top of my head. Doesn't seem like a lot. So I feel like she's probably like gonna push Charlotte to a table too hard or like hit her too hard with a kind of like something stupid, and then Charlotte's gonna get mad and fucking rock her. Because that always seems to happen when Charlotte gets into one of these matches.
Yeah, but usually it's Charlotte that's the one that's going too far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think like Ronda's going to do something to piss her off, and and Charlotte's going to take it to another level because Charlotte's being a pain in the ass about it. And I have that happening over, and I have the over under at that happening 2.5 times. Might be a little high.
I'll cautiously take the under on that. I think it'll be twice. I think it'll just be twice.
Yeah. -110. All right. Bet responsibly, kids. Entertainment purposes only.
Do you want to? Or what? Who do you got? Who do you got in this?
Oh, I don't give a shit. I was gonna say I was gonna flip a coin, but I already did that bit on the show once. It feels weird to me that Ronda doesn't have the title yet. I was convinced she was going to win at WrestleMania. Like I thought she was going to come back and win the title. That just made sense to me. So I'll pick Ronda just to go against you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it should be Ronda, but it should have been Ronda at WrestleMania. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know what the next pay-per-view is. I wish I did. I don't think it's the Glasgow one.
No, I think that's in September, like the first couple days of September.
Oh, so that's
Next
yeah, you're right. That's not for a
it should be
long
Money
time.
in the Bank next, so they could do it there. That way you keep both of them out of the Money in the Bank match.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think then do you think they give Ronda Money in the Bank if she doesn't win?
No, God, no, I hope not. Oh gosh, to pull Brock Lesnar and not even be in the match and just walk out at the end and take the briefcase. Oh,
And Mustafa just stands there in disbelief.
oh
That
man.
was one of the dumbest things. All he had to do was just, nope, I win. Fuck you, Brock Lesnar, and then just run. And he just like went into shock.
Yeah. Oh my God, he was gonna win. That like he didn't find out until like a couple hours before the show that the plans had changed.
The worst. No wonder he got pissed.
He literally could have been WWE champion. But so there might be some matches added to the card, and I like we'll take like 2 minutes, I'd say, to speculate about who would win if they are, and it's all women's matches really. They could add
like Rhea Liv or something.
Yeah, Rhea Liv, or the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair versus Sonya or whatever the fuck. Like, so for the sake of shits and giggles, if they have Becky Asuka, I think Asuka wins, and you continue the downward spiral of Becky Lynch that eventually makes her change her character and turn face. Who would you take if this match happens?
Oh, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think returning Asuka winning makes sense. I also do like there's the built-in feud there, and I know, and again, I haven't been watching, so I don't know if they've referenced it yet. There is the built-in feud there that Becky more or less gave up her title to Asuka.
No, she said, she's like, I literally handed the Raw Women's Championship to her.
I figured that would come up very quickly. Becky is too smart not to use that. But I think that Asuka winning and beating Becky, not that it legitimizes her title reign back then, but it gives her the win over Becky that she never got in that instance. I know she's beating her, but like it's a good parallel, so to speak. And then
it does legitimize Asuka though, because otherwise Asuka just falls back to being whatever,
Kabuki Warrior era Asuka.
It puts her like, oh shit, like she can literally go challenge Bianca after that, or she can, like she is the top star again. Like she's the Asuka we think she is, as opposed to the Asuka the company thinks she is. So
yeah, Asuka's gonna kill you, Asuka. Like her beating Becky, continuing Becky's descent, and then having Asuka go against Bianca sounds like a very good scenario with what they got right now.
Yeah. So
they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
At least maybe not Sunday.
Yeah, they might not do it Sunday, which is fair. If you want to build that match up longer, that's fine. But they did a good job in the 6-woman tag on Monday to make all three of these feuds feel like big deals, and none of them are even happening at the pay-per-view, which isn't good. But it's like, if you want to, like, the Becky Asuka, you want to add more build to that, that's fine. It feels like a big deal. It's weird that Bianca's on the show. Rhea Liv should happen. It might happen on the pre-show, honestly, which is, a little sad. But if it does, Rhea wins, and that's that. Like, it's just 100%.
I don't know what time this. I don't know if it starts at 7 or 8. I guess it's 8. But if this starts at 8 and it's over by 10 and I'm in and out of there by 10 o'clock on a Sunday, I will be thrilled if they don't add any more matches. Everybody gets 20 minutes. Go in, go out, do your thing. Don't give me a Bobby Roode dancing segment in the middle of it and get me out of there by 10 o'clock. Let's go.
Yeah. So it'd be pretty cool if they do Rhea Liv. I'm assuming you got Rhea.
Yeah, it makes too much sense. Coming off the heel turn.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I like them together. They look like they're having so much fun.
They did. They made Liv look really good on Monday. She picked up the pin in the match. She didn't get pinned. She pinned someone in the main event of Raw, no less. So, they built Liv up. So if she takes the loss, she's actually okay. And for some reason, if they do Bianca Sonya, obviously we're gonna go with
Bianca's obviously keeping that. It's not even a question.
Yeah. So,
I do like Sonya, and I'm glad she's back in the ring and everything. And she's looking great, but she's not beating Bianca. Bianca just won the title.
Her, Rhea, and Becky, like side by side, tagging together on Monday. felt like a big deal. They all
That's
looked
a
like
force.
the whole match. It was full of stars. Like this was like, bro, like this was literally like, we heard what you said, Becky. We're proving you right now. Like, look at these fucking. Everyone felt like a star. Asuka, Bianca, and Liv felt like stars. The only one who was like a little lower was Liv because she always loses, but she is over as fuck. And then she
got the win, yeah.
in the match. So it's like it was just a brilliant display. And again, it's gonna be better than the fucking. It was a way more exciting 6-person tag that we're gonna get on this pay-per-view. Which, by the way, we didn't talk about it last, but it might main event still because it's Roman Reigns and it's.
Yeah, I only ran down the way they had it in reverse order on Wikipedia, and I guess because the Charlotte match is the only title match on the card, which again is insane to me. They have it, as the top bill match. So, but you're probably right. It's probably going to be Roman, unless they just want to do the I Quit last match. I mean, maybe that I Quit match last. Okay.
Yeah, but if they're going to have a shitty ending, they might as well just do the 6-person tag because at least the crowd will go home happy because the babyfaces are going to win.
As someone who was at the infamous Backlash in New Jersey, they don't always send the crowd home happy during a Backlash pay-per-view.
Oh man. All right. Well,
I'm actually, before we go, I'm curious to know, because you kind of said like, because of what Becky said, between the women main eventing AEW this past Wednesday and the women main eventing Monday Night Raw, I think Becky's comments are actually kind of giving everyone a kick in the ass to start showcasing women's wrestling a little bit more.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like Thunder Rosa kind of addressed it in her promo. She's like, despite criticisms of this division or whatever, and, it's like, we have we're the best women's wrestlers in the world. We're the best division. Like she sparked a flame, and ultimately that's good. And not to directly compare, but like I can tell you as the person who watched both that one women's main event was tremendously better than the other, and one of them, the people felt like main eventers, whereas the other one, only one of the people felt like a main eventer, and that person lost, so they don't feel like a main eventer anymore. But
hey, look, if Becky calling them out gives Tony Khan the competitive kick in the ass he needs to get that women's division into shape, good.
So,
and that's Becky just beautifully working what she wants to say in character. So thank you, Becky Lynch. And on that note, I think that about wraps things up here on the Mark It Down podcast. We would like to thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. As we always say, when we get to 100 subscribers, and we're close, we're getting there, James will wrap and dye part of his hair green. Be sure to follow all of our social medias. They will be in the descriptions below. Hopefully, Chad and/or James will be back next week from whatever expeditions they are on. I think Creative has something for Chad. We're working on something, but we shall see. So for Dana Hernandez, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you next time here on the Mark It Down podcast. Have a good one, everyone.